everybody. I hope you're doing well. I've been thinking more about visual symbolism in South Asian films, and something that I keep returning to is the use of water in Indian film songs. Love songs tend to be fantastical. They tend to take place in multiple locations, exhibit several costume changes, and their backdrops tend to be idyllic landscapes in which the couple is completely alone. In a crowded place like India, scenes like these might as well happen in someone's imagination. Something I noticed, however, about these love songs is how often they feature water in one form or another, like rain, a river, lake, waterfall, or snow. Is water inherently romantic? Western films also make use of water in their romantic films, I'm assuming for its beauty. But I also believe they too recognize the power of water in nature to intensify emotions. In this video, I'll discuss how Indian filmmakers use water to express or intensify different emotions. As we talked about in the romantic gaze video, Indian people rely on alternative forms of communication to express how they feel. Similarly, I believe Indian filmmakers use nature-related imagery like water to communicate how characters feel. South Asians have a deep cultural relationship to water, and I believe it reveals itself in their media. Water is colorless, but it assumes the color of the objects around it. Similarly, water can intensify any emotion depending on what's going on. Throughout their history, Indians have used water in multiple ways. They drink water directly to nourish themselves, irrigate their crops, cook, bathe, and pray. But Indian people can feel like they are at nature's mercy. Summers in India are typically brutal, reaching temperatures of 43 degrees Celsius or 109.4 degrees Fahrenheit or more, and lasting for 3 to 4 months. Indian summers can be so hot and humid that it's common for hundreds of residents to die each year from heat stroke. For instance, almost 500 Indians died from heat-related causes in 2019. Typically, the monsoon or rainy season follows summer, and temperatures drop. As you can imagine, Indian people highly anticipate the monsoon after slogging through dangerous summer temperatures. So it's no wonder why water lends itself to emotional storytelling. Water evokes a lot of emotions in us. Basically, anything in India can be tied to spirituality. Some Hindu mythological stories use water motifs to teach us lessons about pride, sin, balance, discipline, purity, faith, and devotion. Fundamentally, water is believed to be God's gift. Kings that protected their subjects and followed their dharma or right action were said to attract the goddess of good fortune, leading to ample rain, abundant harvests, and prosperity for all. However, if kingdoms experienced little to no rainfall, kings would perform rituals to appease the gods and invite rain. So Indian people have long associated right action and piety with an abundance of wealth, food, and water. But how do these ideas play into our media? As we discussed in the Gazes video, love is often central to our films and television. Indian creators have long used nature to demonstrate feelings like joy, longing, and sorrow. But why is water almost always present in dramatic scenes and love songs? Well, water can represent a flood of emotions that must be expressed through song, dance, or intense dialogue. But let's explore a few more reasons. 1. Water is beautiful and precious. Water has a shimmering quality. It scintillates, sparkles, and changes even when the viewer is standing still. Depicting water in films could allow viewers to equate love with this shimmering, ethereal substance. When lovers are surrounded by water, it looks like they're surrounded by gold or jewels, like emeralds and sapphires. It's almost as if these lovers are masters of this treasure, which is, of course, love itself. The time they spend together is rich, precious, and ethereal. 2. Water immortalizes love. Fire is commonly used in Indian marriage ceremonies to witness a couple's vows. Water can be perceived similarly in our media. Just as how fire sanctifies a couple's union in the presence of friends and family, water might bear witness to a couple's courtship and offer blessings, almost as if God is present in some capacity. Further, I think the reason that natural elements are invoked to witness true love is to immortalize it. Natural elements like rivers, waterfalls, and mountains evoke a sense of grandeur and timelessness. They will exist far longer than the lovers will live. Therefore, in theory, natural elements like water will remember these stories and pass them on to future generations. 3. Water represents surrender. As we discussed in the Gazes video, in later stages of love, individuals might surrender completely to their inner feeling, which can be likened to drowning. Just like how devotees immerse themselves in devotion or bhakti, lovers might enter a river or ocean to demonstrate deep love. Similarly, just as how rivers merge with the ocean, lovers seek to become one in life and death. At that point, their individual identities are irrelevant. 4. Water erases our differences. Water unites all living things. We all need water to live. And when water brings characters together, they are reminded of that reality. Collectively drenched, everyone is equal, and their inhibitions are lowered. This reality can feel somewhat intoxicating. Alternatively, water can bring negative emotions to the surface. It can expose characters' vulnerabilities like fear, sorrow, insecurity, and loneliness. Therefore, we can sometimes observe characters exploring their darker emotions in the presence of water. Okay, enough context. Let's talk about emotions. I believe that water is most commonly used to depict and intensify 4 types of emotions. The first way that I picture water in Indian films is rain, particularly when characters are experiencing unabashed joy. They might start dancing, sort of like how people rejoice at the arrival of the monsoon. After an oppressive summer, rain can feel like a huge relief. Similarly, fictional couples who dance in the rain could be experiencing freedom from hardship, deprivation, or a long workday. In songs like these, characters drop their seriousness and revert to their inner child. It can allow these characters to see each other in a new light and become closer. Rain can also suggest that these characters are moving into a new phase of their relationship. Just like how the rain washes the world clean, it sometimes gives characters a chance to start a new life and love. I think rivers can also represent the joy of new love. Village women are typically responsible for fetching water from their nearby rivers. In films, this trip can allow her to meet her beloved unsupervised. Therefore, the river itself has a romantic connotation. Just like how rivers travel waywardly between trees, young people in love are filled with a sense of exploration. And yes, traveling to the river either to bathe or collect water does remind us of how Krishna would sometimes appear along the way. The mere idea that Krishna would show up on their journey probably made the girls excited to go. I think filmmakers use a couple of techniques to communicate passion and desire using water. In one case, we might see characters sitting next to a beautiful pond or waterfall and exhibiting an increased desire for one another. This can take the form of fantasies where characters aren't literally next to each other but imagine it. Waterfalls are majestic, impressive forms of water. You can't find them everywhere in India, so the presence of a waterfall in a film could signify that the characters are on some sort of vacation. Therefore, it's natural for these characters to imagine or dream about what they want. They're in a very dreamy place. And maybe all that they want is to be alone with their beloved in this rare, idyllic place. A second, more common way of depicting sensual desire in Indian films is through rain. Sometimes characters might dance suggestively in the rain, which is a variation on the wholesome version we saw earlier. But you can probably notice a clear difference in these scenes. In the second category, characters are alone in the rain. Lovers might be more amorous in the rain because, one, no one can see them, because they're dancing in their own backyard, rooftop, or imagination. Alternatively, you're probably familiar with the idea of two characters getting caught in the rain and needing to take shelter indoors in an unfamiliar location. It might be nighttime and there might not be any way to contact anyone. What is more, they likely have to take off their wet clothes to avoid catching a cold. In this situation, characters are, of course, highly vulnerable and alone with each other. After they get over that initial awkwardness, they might start to realize the extent of their situation. If no one can get in or out, why can't they enjoy it? This is a rare opportunity that shouldn't be missed. I haven't seen this plot device used in a while, but that might be okay because I think it's a little bit lazy. And also, monsoons are associated with fertility in that they nourish Indian crops and fill reservoirs. Therefore, ample rainfall can lead to a rich and abundant society, which is perfect for raising a child. I also think these interactions are often coded as forbidden or dangerous even if the couples are married, which is interesting. Desire is almost always coded like that. I think that's changing though. I should mention how in some films men can act like voyeurs, where they look at women without them knowing. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Also, here's an interesting point. If you happen to see a scene where a woman is dressed in white or light-colored clothing in the rain or under a waterfall, that's probably on purpose. Apparently, filmmakers enjoy putting women in wet, transparent clothing so audiences can see their bodies better. It's probably the closest thing to nudity that they can get. Yeah, it's a little creepy. Filmmakers also often illustrate longing and heartbreak with rain. Rain, of course, looks like tears. Seeing a character cry in the rain can make it look like the sky is crying with them. Also, characters typically shiver and shake when they cry hard, and the rain can make this action look more natural. It's almost as if the characters are shaking both from their grief and the cold. While lovers can be heartbroken for a number of reasons, one of them could be separation. Rain is commonly used to illustrate the pain of separation, suggesting a situation where lovers cannot meet due to the monsoon. The rain can be intense, and going outside could be dangerous. Indian classical songs written in the rag Megh Malhar often carry a wistful tone and mention an unreachable beloved. These lyrics can say, "I burn in the fire of separation. My eyes weep just like this rain, but the rain cannot quench this fire." Finally, poet saints like Chandidas also leaned into Radha's sorrow at being separated from Krishna because of the rain. In one of his poems, he says, "As the new clouds roar, my eyes pour over the tyranny of love. I have no wings, or else I would have flown to where Krishna lives. How can I survive 4 months of torrential rain? Bearing unbearable pain, sleeplessly I lie, buried in my own failure." A final expression of love where water is involved is peace. Sometimes we can observe lovers exhibiting a slowness to their movements, potentially when they're in the snow or sitting by a riverbank at dusk. Because it's cold, it forces them to get closer and rely on each other's warmth. Snow can slow the heartbeat and put us more in touch with our deepest feelings, like peace. Perhaps in this environment, lovers do experience more stillness. Sometimes song lyrics can suggest that love is a fire that warms the lovers in the midst of the cold. This could suggest that true love can sustain two people in the midst of adversity. It's the idea that they will trudge together, even if it kills them. They will never be apart. They will find solace in each other. In these moments of supreme silence, lovers might bring up ideas related to mortality and the fact that they don't fear death because they have everything they need. The depiction of snow and mountains can also suggest that lovers have returned to the source of water or life. Several important rivers like the Ganga originate from the Himalayan mountains. The idea of returning to the source has spiritual implications. Several devotional philosophies say that all souls merge with God in the end. Water can illustrate a lot of things in romance. And I think Indians' complex relationship with water reflects this. Water is often synonymous with abundance, beauty, and devotion, and so is love. So the next time you see water on screen, maybe think about what it means. It might mean more than you realize.